Bhagavad Gita chanting, Chapter 10, verses 1 to 10.
अथ दशमोऽध्यायः। श्रीभगवानुवाच भूय एव महाबाहो शृणु मे परमं वचः यत्तेऽहं प्रीयमाणाय वक्ष्यामि हितकाम्यया। न मे विदुः सुरगणाः प्रभवं न महर्षयः। अहमादिर्हि देवानां महर्षीणां च सर्वशः। यो मामजमनादिं च वेत्ति लोकमहेश्वरम्। असम्मूढः समर्थ्येषु सर्वपापैः प्रमुच्यते। बुद्धिर्ज्ञानमसम्मोहः क्षमा सत्यं दमः शमः। सुखं दुःखं भवो भावः भयं चाभयमेव च। अहिंसा समता तुष्टिः तपोदानं यशो यशः। भवन्ति भावा भूतानां मत्त एव पृथग्विधाः। महर्षयः सप्त पूर्वे चत्वारो मनवस्तथा। मद्भावा मानसा जाताः येषां लोक इमाः प्रजाः। एतां विभूतिं योगं च मम यो वेत्ति तत्त्वतः। सोऽविकम्पेन योगेन युज्यते नात्र संशयः। अहं सर्वस्य प्रभवः मत्तः सर्वं प्रवर्तते। इति मत्वा भजन्ते मां बुधा भावसमन्विताः। मच्चित्ता मद्गतप्राणाः बोधयन्तः परस्परं कथयन्तश्च मां नित्यं तुष्यन्ति च रमन्ति च। तेषां सततयुक्तानां भजतां प्रीतिपूर्वकं ददामि बुद्धियोगं तं येन मामुपयान्ति ते।
सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति। We are starting the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Vibhuti Yoga. studying this chapter along with me, I need your complete cooperation. Other chapters, I don't need much of cooperation. For this chapter, I need full cooperation because you find very many words being used in this chapter, not familiar to you. Okay. So he is going to refer to so many people here, so many things, all that is not familiar grounds. There is a very good possibility that you will get put off. See, so very tough chapter that way. And in many ways, the chapter has a reference here. If you see the arrangement of the Bhagavad Gita, we saw that the first 6 chapter, middle 6 chapter, and last 6 chapter. This is the 3 broad classification we make. In the first 6 chapters, Krishna is exploring the Pampada. In the Mahabharata. The very orthodox people would not refer this Mahabharata in public platforms. So, we say Mahabharata, you have to understand which Mahabharata I am referring. It's not referred. Of course, we don't belong to the category, so it doesn't matter for us. They are neither. You can't say you are a very liberal person, or you can say you are orthodox. No. In between. But you have to know it is orthodox. It is Mahavakyas were not spelled out. Being seated in this Vyasapita, they call us the seat. It's referred as Vyasapita. So from this seat, you don't refer it. So there's Mahavakya's explanation is what the Bhagavad Gita is. So what is the dharma? Is the study. What is your real nature? Is the study. Self-inquiry is the study of the Bhagavad Gita. In that, there is a Upadesha Vakya. In Mahavakyas, there is a Upadesha Vakya. So there we study that first 6 chapters, we refer to the individual, Jiva, explore. From 7 to 12, we explore the self, Brahman, Atman. That. Then the equation is the 13 to 18, last 6. Pratama, Madhyama, last. This is the 3. So the first 6 chapters we have studied about the individual. What is this condition? This is where it starts. That's why it starts as Arjuna Vishada Yoga. Even though Krishna is not speaking in the first full chapter, but still that is included in the study of the Gita. So why that is also, we could have started from 2nd chapter onwards. Bhagavad Gita has only 17 chapters there. Easy. But tradition included the first chapter. Why? Because that is the condition of a individual. Individual is suffering from sorrow. So that is his problem. And why that sorrow? That sorrow is because of his ignorance. Because of his confusion. So from why the confusion comes? The sorrow is because of confusion. Confusion is because of attachment. So attachment leads to confusion. Confusion gives you sorrow. Arjuna essentially had attachment towards these people. The moment he saw in the battlefield all his relatives, the attachment in him came out. When it came out, there was a confusion. Now what to do? Am I to promote my attachment or am I to do my duty? What am I supposed to do now? There is a dilemma. That dilemma led to that is a condition of an individual. That's the first chapter. And then from second chapter onwards, the teaching starts. The education started to the individual. What is the nature of the individual, etc. And then in the third chapter, Arjuna asks specific questions and then explore this idea of how that individual can grow. What is he supposed to do? Karma yoga, jnana karma sannyasa yoga, sannyasa yoga, dhyana yoga. This is the chapters. Then from seventh chapter, Krishna changes the gear. Now from individual, he starts focusing on the divine. Starts explaining the divine has two aspects, para and apara. Para prakriti and apara prakriti, etc. A small deviation he takes in the 8th chapter. And in the 9th chapter, he came back again, explaining para prakriti and apara prakriti. Of course, along with that, so many other points were added. They are not going into those things. Now we are doing this 10, 11. This 10th chapter, 11th chapter together. Right. 10th chapter is giving more of this analytic exposition. And in the 11th chapter, he shows the Vishwarupa climax, as it were, the build-up he gives. Because of the build-up, Arjuna wanted to see that. So he shows that Vishwarupa, concluding with Bhakti Yoga. Climax is there actually. The climax for the first 6th chapter is in the 6th chapter. Right. That is the crux of it. Rest are all just preparation. You prepare and prepare and prepare the individual, bring him to that height. And the same way, from 7th chapter he builds. And he goes to such poetic, intellectual details have been provided in 7, 8, 9. Full analytical presentation about what is God. And 10 and 11, 10th chapter is more of poetry. Right. 11th chapter, perception. Arjuna experiences. Then comes the actual exposition of what is bhakti. So, 7th chapter, 8th chapter, 9th chapter, 10, 11 prepares you to understand the 12th chapter. All build up only. Climax is the 12th chapter. The direct build up is this. This 10 and 11, you can clearly see the link when you go there. But I don't know. In our text, we study the good strain. We go. So by that time I do 12th chapter introduction, I'll remind you, don't worry. Okay. The 10th chapter, 11th chapter, it's very interesting in one way, it's really dragging another way. Depends on how we want to study. Lot of stories can be given. Other, so much of stories are available. You can give. Another way of doing it is simply study at home. Pass. Because essential one for this is the 12th chapter. Remember, that's the backdrop. The bhakti. Exploring what is bhakti comes in the 12th chapter. So you got to wait. Now, many people say, okay, why don't we study bhakti yoga straight away? That's where we make a mistake. Exactly like you need the second chapter. In fact, you need the first chapter, second chapter, 3, 4, 5 for you to understand this dhyana yoga. Understand what is dhyana. Needs so much of preparation, build up. Similarly, bhakti also needs so much of preparation. Since you are prepared so beautifully with this effort, action, and the devotion, Jnana Yoga is only 3 chapters. In fact, not 3, only 2 chapters, 13 and 15. Bhakti Yoga, he goes to one height. From there, he shoots in the 13th chapter one height. Right? You can, when you read it, you can literally feel. Like, takes you to the height and then shoots. 13th chapter. Arjuna, too much, man. I can't manage all this. Don't worry, I'll come down to your level. 14, he comes a little down. Again in the 15th chapter, he shoots up. And then 16, 17, settling down. 18th chapter, wrap up the whole thing. This is the entire Bhagavad Gita. So anybody wants to know what is there in the Bhagavad Gita, it's all yours. Very calculated presentation. So we are in the middle now. The 10th chapter is Vibhuti Yoga. So it's a preparatory text. Preparation, preparing. What is he doing here? Why does Vibhuti? Why do you have to talk about it? That's the crux. Unless you understand this, you cannot understand what is the reference of this chapter. In your spiritual effort, you say the Bhagavad Gita is of a spiritual text. It is a philosophic treatise. That's why we refer it as Prasthanatraya. It is one of the authoritative texts in the Bhagavad Gita, top 3. If you take the subject Vedanta, top 3 texts are there. Brahma Sutra, and all the Upanishads, not just the 10 Upanishads, all Upanishads. His masters took those 10 Upanishads only to comment them. They just chose 10. Right? For whatever reason, they chose the 10. And then you have the Bhagavad Gita. So you can say 10 Upanishads. There are actually 12. There are 2 more Upanishads are there, apart from the 10. Shvetashvatara Upanishad and Kaivalya Upanishad. These 2 Upanishads are extra. This 10. So I am not going into the Upanishadic study. Okay. Brahma Sutra, Upanishads means those 10 plus 2. 12 Upanishads. It's study and the Bhagavad Gita. These were referred as the authoritative texts. Apart from that, of course, we have so many other books, texts are there. Sanat Sujadiya is there in the Mahabharata itself. And Uddhava Gita is there. Other Gitas are there. Ashtavakra Gita is there. There are so many texts are there. But still, we refer Bhagavad Gita as the authoritative texts. And not doesn't mean other things are not. It's the chief one. Why? Because of its precise arrangement of the ideas, starting from the ordinary person who has no clue of any exposure to spiritual training, knowledge, and to the person who is highly evolved. If you take Sanat Sujadiya, for example, it is not meant for ordinary person. Uddhava Gita is not meant for the person who is in the world. It is meant for a person who has covered Bhakti Yoga in the Bhagavad Gita. So, if he studies Uddhava Gita, he can understand. If you straight away study Uddhava Gita, nothing will understand. Nothing you will understand is not that you will not understand. You can't really, see through. It will not speak to you the way it is supposed to speak. The preparation is required. For Bhagavad Gita, it covers from this to that. For it's applicable to even a highly evolved student. Also, a person who is just a initiate, just started. For him also there is material. That's why it is added as the authoritative text. Even though it is referred as only Smriti Grantha, but still it is authoritative. Why? Upanishads, you don't have to, there's no second thought. Why? It is part of the Vedas. That's all. So there is no way you can question it. Sutra Grantha sutras are designed to be the primary ones. So why Brahma Sutra's authority? No questions can be asked. Right. Of all the very many Gitas, Smriti Grantha, why we are taking Bhagavad Gita as a reference? Pratanatraya, authority. Because of the application it has, universal application is. Even though Isavasi Upanishad talks so lofty ideas there, still, you ask any common man, he will refer to Bhagavad Gita. Brahma Sutra, nobody refers. Ideally speaking, they in the court, they keep, they take oath. Witness have to come and take oath. So they'll take oath with what? Bhagavad Gita only they keep. They don't keep Brahma Sutra. Brahma Sutra also has got commentary, from everyone. Every master has commented on Brahma Sutra also, but they don't keep. Bhagavad Gita only keep. Why? Still, it is tremendous value. Why? Because of its application and arrangement. Such arrangement. And that's why the scholars, who read, they find it almost impossible to believe how Krishna would have spoken spontaneously with such clarity, with such arrangement. So they think Krishna must have referred something, and then Vyasa has, set it here. I say we don't care in our tradition, because Vyasa is Vishnu, Vishnu is Vyasa. So both are same only. So whether it is Krishna or him, because both were having the same name. Vyasa, we say, Vyasa is only is a later name. His orthodox name, remember. Orthodox people don't call him as Vyasa. We don't refer him as Vyasa. They refer him as Krishna Dvaipayana. The ritual, we are supposed to do every day. The rituals, we do this Tarpanam for this Brahma Yajna. They do that to the rishis, the list of rishis. The list of rishis starts with who? Deva Rishi they do first. Deva Rishi they do, and then the text they do, the oblations. They are supposed to worship In the worship, first they do the devas and then they come to the rishis. That rishi tarpana, when they starting, the starting is Krishna Dvaipayanadaya. Means Krishna Dvaipayana like him others. And then comes all the Brahma rishis. List. So starting is who? Krishna Dvaipayana. They don't say Vyasa. Vyasa is later. Krishna Dvaipayana is his original name. So what is he now? His name is also Krishna. He is Krishna. Draupadi's name also originally Krishna. You know that? Krishna. Okay, Krishna. That means you are calling Draupadi. Be careful. Not na. If you put na, it is Draupadi you are calling. You carefully call. Who will come? If you keep calling Draupadi, Bhima will come. Remember. So be careful. That's what Kichaka did, no? That Virata. Or what is it? Kichaka did that. So he was calling her all the time. So Bhima came. Be careful. We don't care. Say whether it is Krishna fixed it or Vyasa fixed it, whoever fixed it. We don't bother. Whoever had arranged it must be a giant personality. And such a giant thing can be put in the mouth of Krishna only when it's valid. If you say there's no value for it. If he says there's a value. From the 7th chapter onwards to the 12th chapter, it is discussion on God. Now, what is the relationship between God and us? The first thing they say is, yes, God is a creator. The whole world was created by God. That's the first thing they say. So, anytime anybody asks you, even in half asleep, if someone were to ask you, what is Ishvara? You have to say what? Jagat Karana. Means creator. He is a creator of the world. Then we ask the question, okay, if God has to create the world, if he is a creator, then for any creation, we do require what? Material. Right? What is the material that he had used to create the world? Don't say atoms. Right? There we say what? He himself is a material. So, what is Ishvara now? Ishvara is Jagat Karanam. Means what? It means he is the efficient cause, also material cause. He is the Nimitta Karana, also Upadana Karana. Right? So, he himself is the material and he himself is the efficient. Example, a pot maker makes the pot using a clay. Right? A clay is the material cause and pot maker is the nimitta. Don't immediately say, what about the wheel? Wheels also included. Okay. What about the donkey used to carry the clay? You can't include it in the cost. In the cost, we use only what? Remember, these are all logic. It's not a joke. Remember, this is reasoning. Without the donkey carrying the clay, is it possible for the clay to reach? Not possible. You have to carry that now. Now, therefore, donkey is also a part of it, isn't it? But the donkey is not included in this. We use what? The pot maker, the wheel, and the clay. Only three are used. So the wheel is the nimitta. The pot maker is the jnanam part, knowledge. You need the knowledge of pot making. And knowledge cannot be standing in the air. It needs a adhara. It needs a stand. The stand is who? An individual. A person has to be there. Knowledge of pot making cannot be simply hanging. It has to be in somebody's. It has to be standing with that particular adhisthana. So that is a pot maker. So when we say pot maker, what are we referring to? We are referring to the knowledge. And God being Jnana Swarupi, he has the knowledge of creation also. So he has the knowledge and he himself is the wheel, nimitta. Also he himself is the clay, upadana karana. So this is the steps. In the first stage, we say God is somebody, world is something else. Then what are we saying? Any type of pots you use, all your relationship with different shapes, kadai is used. You are transacting with what? And another one is used to cook rice. Another one is used to keep water. Right? One is kept for water, one is kept for this, one is kept for this. All that is different. But what you need to understand is, anytime you are interacting with that pots or various utilities, all your transactions are happening with what now? You understand, I am transacting with clay. Yeah. Even though the transactions are all different, the shape is different, the name is different, the rupa is different, the purpose is different. All that is different. For what it is used is different, how it is getting used is different, the shape is different, the form is different, the name is different. You can have all those things, but you can say anything. You are transacting with what? In truth, you are transacting only with clay. Isn't it? Same way. Whenever you are transacting with anything in the world, you are transacting with who? If God is the Upadana Karanam, if he is the material cause for the universe, then anything you transact with the universe, you are transacting with whom? With God only. Isn't it? That is what this chapter is. I am this, I am that, I am this, I am that. And he is saying exactly like gold or the clay, keep on saying. The bangle that you have, gold. The chain that you have, gold. Kasamala that you have, gold. The Netichupi you have, gold. This one you have, gold. Arrow you have, gold. The teeth that you have, gold. Then you have, gold. You see? You are a very rich fellow. You don't know what to do. You put gold. I don't know if it's full gold or gold plated. I have to ask. Half one. Cover. Plated. Plating. Gold, 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 gold. By the time you get, you have to come to conclusion, say finally, Hey Baba, I know man, everything is God. I understood. Move to the next one. Till you say that you will go on. Will not be God. See that I am God. See that I am God. That's what it is. See, the problem today we have is we are seeing the ornaments. We are seeing the various pots. We are not able to see a clay in the pot. We are not able to see God in the world. Now that vision is gone. That ability to see God in the world is lost. So how to give you that vision? For that he goes on giving all this. So what is he doing? He is taking one by one every nama rupa that you can transact with. He takes and says, I am the base. I am the base. I am that adhisthana. Like clay. Clay goes on saying, clay, clay, clay. So wherever you go, any shapes of pots you see, you keep on referring to what? This is clay, this is clay, this is clay, this is clay. Similarly, anything you see in the world, you should say what? This is God, this is God, this is not. So our problem is, it's as it were, you should know how to extract clay out of pot. Isn't it? Something like that. You have to, you have to take it out and see as clay. You have to extract gold out of ornament without destroying the ornament. And destroying the ornament to see gold is a different thing. Okay. Now you are pulling it out of it as it were. You should know how to take it. If you don't know that art, it's like scriptures that give us stories. Fascinating. One of my favorite stories. Of course, there are many favorites. This is one of my favorite story. I have heard the lecture, ages back. There was a king, saints. And in that entire country, they never, there was no cattle, there's no cow in the country. They don't have cows in the country. So there one fellow came and he brought something, liquid, white color liquid he brought. And he brought it and offered that to the king. He said, I brought it for you. And when he saw that, the king couldn't understand. What is this? He said, it's milk. He suspected. He got scared. We don't know who this guy is. Suddenly somebody comes and says, no, I'm giving it to you, drink. Who will drink? So he gave to his minister. So I said, we always have. If nothing happens to him, then they will eat. That's the problem of kings. All juta only they can have. Fresh they cannot eat. Poor fellows. Nobody can poison. That's why they don't eat. So first we gave it to the store. You want to visualize first time in their life they are drinking pure milk. They too. Right. Just see cow milk they have. Or if you want, you can make it as buffalo also. Then nowadays they are saying buffalo milk is more valuable. Buffalo milk. And they don't know buffalo. So he gave me the example of cow. Today buffaloes are endangered species, so we need to add buffalo. Buffalo. He don't know. He doesn't know from where he got all that. And he tried. It was so tasty. And then next day he brought something solid in a pot. He brought something so solid, pure white. Man, what is this? It's called curd. Where? The milk you had, no? That becomes curd. Then only get curd. Oh. Tasted curd, fresh curd. Chennai you will not get. Fresh curd now. You saw. The taste is very good. Next day, he brought milk, curd, and he brought little butter also. I said, what is this? Butter. These two are white and that's yellow. So the extract you get it. And taste of that, it's like madhuram, sweet, honey, and train. And fourth day, he brought milk, curd, butter, ghee also he brought. And he opened the lid. The entire court, entire assembly was getting the fragrance. Wow. What only he is getting. And the king got so curious. You are manufacturing all this? He thought he is manufacturing. Because he sees all that. They don't know. Cow and buffalo, they don't know all that. So, I have one uncle that gives. And there only I get. Oh, can I get one? Very expensive. He said, how much will you ask? I'll give you. Give me one. One buffalo. Okay. It's a very precious one. So you give me and keep paying him heavily. Right. And he brought that buffalo. Waiting for buffalo to give. And he has instructed these fellows to give whatever the buffalo gives, you fellows should not have. It should be given to me only. So, waiting. After some time, buffalo gave. And they brought. This fellow says, transparent are they? Giving a foul smell. But what that fellow brought was pure white and sweet and nectarine, and now this is. And then they said, wait, something solid we give you. He gave solid also. Now, how can you have that? Buffalo only gives. But you should know how to extract it. If you don't know how to extract, what you will do? It is there. But you should know how to extract. The technique of extraction is what he is giving in chapter 10 and 11. Now, how do you get that drishti, that perception of this Bhagavan? How do you see Bhagavan? How do you extract the tattva? How do you extract the principle, God principle functioning in the world? How do you extract it? It is possible only through the vibhuti. By recognizing that vibhuti, you can extract. Otherwise, you cannot extract this. This is the chapter 10. Now we are moving to the next quick question. The next question we have is, sir, what is the benefit of, or what is the use? Because always we will be asking for that. What's the use of it? And this chapter has a fascinating references. Very practical utility. That's why a lot of people use this chapter for Parayana. For everyday Parayana, they use. There are a few chapters that are used by people. You will not find a person doing Parayana of third chapter. You won't find a person doing Parayana of the fifth chapter and all. But you find people doing Parayana of few chapters. Like 10 chapter they do. Similarly, they do the 16th chapter, 15th chapter, 12th chapter. Those chapters are done as Parayana. Full chapter they do. Now, this 10th chapter is one. Now, each chapter is done for different reasons. Okay. Now, here is a specific chapter where we have this idea. And what Krishna is doing here is he is going on saying, I am this, I am this, I am this, I am this. So now you have to go on repeating it. Now, why do you repeat it? Remember, in Vedantic study, repeating something is a defect. They don't repeat. Upanishadic tradition is, if a master repeats means education is over. Teaching over. That's where they repeat. So repetition is not allowed. Repetition means you don't continue anything after that. Now here, Krishna goes on repeating. And this, and this, and this, and this. Either he has to be such an arrogant person. And this, and this, and that, and this, and that, and this, and going on and on and on. Now, how can the Prasthanatraya, an authoritative text, carry this particular defect in them? Dosha cannot be. With the defective one, we cannot be taking as authority. First of all, defective one will not be considered as a text itself. Of that to come into that system and then become authority in that system. To be accepted itself, there are rules they have. A text to be accepted. Anyone writes a text will not be accepted. There are rules, will be checked. And then only it will be accepted into the system. Here, it got accepted into the system and elevated to the position and glorified as authority, carrying the fundamental defect. How many times he has repeated already? He has already given the vibhuti in the 9th chapter. He has already referred it in the 7th chapter. And now he is giving. And in the next chapter also he is going to refer. This going on repeating something is not accepted. But then this is repeated. Why? This is given to us for our practice. Exactly right. A teacher who is teaching mathematics to the student. Addition or multiplication, division, all this. And when he is struggling to solve the problems there, immediately the teacher would say, go back and memorize the tables. 8th table, memorize and come back. And he is struggling. Then what do we do? How do you memorize it? By imposition, by repeating. That's why they give imposition. They write that 8 table 10 times. 1 to 20. Write that and come back. That is a imposition for you. And by tomorrow you have to bring it and submit in the class. So what he has to do? Go back and keep writing it. 10 times he has to write. Now assumption is what? When he writes that 10 times the tables goes and sits in his memory. He'll remember it. Our problem is exactly the same. We keep forgetting God. Morning, night, if I ask you to remember God, and if you can remember God, to have to be reminded to remember God. Many a lot of them will say, you have told me this exercise called introspection and exercise. Very effective. But I keep forgetting to do the exercise. So what we have to do now, I have to remind you to do the exercise. Same way, I have to remind you to remember God. Now, how that is possible? He says, repeat. Keep repeating, keep repeating. That repetition is called upasana. So the first reason, first benefit of the chapter is upasana. And what is that you are going to do upasana here? How you are going to do this upasana of God? Here, God is practiced in a secondary stage, not in the primary stage. Right? Primary stage of remembering God is perceived in one form. Okay, Krishna, that's all. Rama, that's it. So to me, God is what? Rama. That's what Jambavan did with Krishna. He was fighting with Krishna for 3 months. Wrestling, going on. He's not stopping, this man. And Krishna finally has to say, wait this. And he has to do one circle and appeared as Rama. That's all. Jambavan couldn't believe. He's fighting with you. I commit suicide. Unfortunately, you can't commit suicide also. Why? Why? Jambavan cannot commit suicide, you know. Hanuman, Vibhishna, Jambavan and all can't commit suicide. Why? Chiranjeevi is there. Not the Telugu actor. I don't die. Entire Kalpa they will be there. Right. Parasrama, all these people are, you know, Chiranjeevi. So like that, this, you know, Jambo, I can't do that also. So, I can't, how can't believe that I am fighting with you. Why? This is called Ishtadevata. So, any spiritual seeker in the bhakti format, when you are moving, the first step always is what? Ishtadevata. You pick up one devata and start worshipping. That is a preliminary stage of spiritual practice in the bhakti style. Okay. Jnanamna don't bring in here. Right. Jnana yoga is a separate one. Karma yoga is a separate one. This is bhakti. In the bhakti yoga practice, first step is to take Ishtadevata upasana. Worship particular Ishtadevata. And the Ishtadevata Upasana was done along with, of course, orthodox way of doing it is your Kuladeva first and then only Ishtadeva. That should be worshipped. That's why in our orthodox people always ask, what is your Kuladeva? Your family deity. That's what it is. Kuladeva means family deity. So each one have got their favorite, family favorite. Right. Then you have your personal favorite. Right. Your personal favorite can be anything. Sometimes that family deity itself can be your Ishtadevata also. Like for Shankara. Shankara's family deity is Krishna. His personal also Krishna. That's why Bhaja Govindam he says. Govinda, Govinda, he goes on. And in Vishnu Sahasranama, big commentary he gives for Govinda. Name. So that's his. It can be together also. But his personal is this. Now, in the 10th chapter, what he is doing is he is asking you to expand your vision from particular Ishtadevata to seeing the whole universe as Devata. So now you are worshipping what? Not your Ishtadevata, you are worshipping the Virat Swarupa of that Devata. That is the graduation. So 10th chapter is Upasana, repetition. Why the repetition is this? And what you are going to be repeating is not your Kuladevata. You are going to be doing. Thereby what is happening? You are expanding your vision. You are stretching it. Otherwise, you will start getting fanatic. If you go on referring only to your Ishtadevata alone, what will happen eventually? Eventually, you will land up in fanaticism only. You wanted to expand yourself, you start the journey. End of journey, you're absolutely contracted. It's your effort defeats the very purpose with which you are starting. So what you have to do, you start with Ishtadevata. There's no doubt about it. Don't start with Virat. Universal form. That is not possible. That's what happened to Arjuna. You see, he got so inspired and he wanted to see the darshan. When he sees that, he says what immediately? Take it back. I don't want it. Why? No preparation. What is the preparation? The preparatory stage is this. Ishtadevata Upasana is the preparatory stage. Ishtadevata can be anything. We don't care which one you are going to pick up. That's why we have plenty of options here. No, plenty we have got. Huge spread. You can choose anyone. You wanted to manufacture a new god also possible here. You know? Bodyguard Munishwar. New god, evolved. Chennai, when you get off from Central Station, just across, you will find one overbridge. Just the other side, you find one temple there, referred as Bodyguard Munishwar. 70% of vehicles getting registered in Chennai come there for puja. Every day. And his job is what? His name itself is what? He protects the cars. There was no bodyguard Munishwara in the Upanishads, the Puranas, the 18 Puranas, Upa Puranas, Stala Purana, any Purana you go, you will not find body God Muniswara. You can manufacture. New God can be created. You see? For visa, to get visa application approved as a God, you will go there, do your visa, your visa application, you give with his feet. If he says done, then you will get it. So longer queue there standing. God. That's each one I have got. You can manufacture. You like one particular God. I've seen a lot of people, Ganesha. And you can get affiliated to a particular temple also. You know that? In fact, that is how they refer. You are supposed to. I've seen in Chennai, Mylapore itself has got 5 different Shiva temples. 5 temples are there. Shiva temple. Now, when you go to Mylapore, you are supposed to visit all the 5. Most people don't know this. They just go to one and come back. Very popular is Kapalishwara. You go there and come back. There are 5 temples there around. The same. And there is order also. See, this is the way you have to go. And then what you have to do? You go to that particular and you get connected to that particular temple. The fellow visits this Venkatraman house. Venkatraman house, this fellow comes. And he is asking, where are you? He is referring, Kshetradanam I have been to. Where all you went? He started referring, I went to this place, I went to that place, I went to this place, I went to that place. Suddenly the fellow said, I have been to Arunachala. And this guy is sitting in the room, overheard that. The word he overheard, that's all. He doesn't even know where it is. He didn't say Tiruvannamalai. He thought there is a place called Arunachala. That's how he left the house. Can you believe? He doesn't even know where that place is. He goes to a railway station, asks, and they say, that's far out. We don't have money to buy tickets so far. He says, okay, which is the closest I can go? Get off from there and walk. Last 7 miles he has to walk. He goes to Tiruvannamalai, he sees, he's stuck there. Rest of his life. That is the connect you have. Ishtadeva. It could be anything. After that, what you have to do? Don't say that alone, that alone. Then what you have to do? You have to expand it and see that one Ishtadevata of yours is the one pervading everywhere. First step is what? Connect to that Devata. Second step is what? You have to see him everywhere. So first one, Aneka Rupa. First. Second step is Eka Rupa. You pick up one out of it. You go to Shiva temple, you go to Vishnu temple, you go to Ganapati temple, you go to Amman temple, you go to Muruga, you go to this, you go to that, you go to very many temples. Same Shiva temple also you go to many places. Many. Out of all those things, what you have to do? Choose one. Don't say, sir, I have to visit all the temples. It's not necessary. Okay? Pick up one of them. On the way, you pick up one. You pick one. And then what you have to do? Eka Rupa. From Aneka Rupa, you come to Eka Rupa. From Eka Rupa, what you have to do is that Virat Rupa. That one God is the God who is pervading the entire universe. So wherever he says I, what you are supposed to do? Replace that I with your Ishta Devata. Okay. Krishna here. Now when you read, if your Ishta Devata were to be Ganesha, then what you have to say? It is Ganesha in the form of this. It is Ganesha in the form of Ganesha, Ganesha. Everywhere what you are supposed to see. So out of the lot, you pick one, are totally identify with that, and then expand it. After expanding that, what are you supposed to do? Arupa. Okay. So how the bhakti graduation is, from Aneka Rupa, you come to Eka Rupa. From Eka Rupa, you graduate to Virat Rupa. From Virat Rupa alone, you should go to Arupa. Now imagine straight away if you jump to, I'm going to understand Brahman Arupa. There's no form, there's no that, no name, no form, nothing I'm going to have. You will not grow. We call it as vedumbal. I don't know what you call it in English. Fruits. Vedumbal. You get it in how to get it. It is premature. It's not a fruit. Mangoes, have you seen? Mangoes you will find. It is a small mangoes. From the flower, it just comes as a very small one. In that small itself, some of them will look yellowish. Is it? That's not a mango fruit. It will not taste good. In fact, it is poisonous. That is what happens to many of us in the name of bhakti, devotion. So this is the basic one, what we have. Question. Self-realization requires to follow the path of karma, bhakti and jnana. But if a person is not very much inclined towards bhakti, and they do upasana on their guru, anything will do, doesn't matter. Whatever the form. It's a little dangerous to do on guru. Danger in the sense, not in the negative sense. Difficult. That is why a guru who is not alive, easy. Why? When he becomes a puppet in your hand, you can do whatever you want. But if a guru were to be alive, you are in trouble. Right? Because he will respond. Right? Imagine God in the temple were to respond. Right? You are asking for this. What did you do last time? Imagine every time you go to temple, God were to react to you. You are finished. Guru, because the problem is, Guru will do correction. Right? But when he is doing corrections, it's very difficult to keep that going. So be careful. But technically, if you are asking me, in principle, it's possible. In my personal opinion, and this opinion of many masters, is better to take Guru. Ekarupa Upasana, if you want, better to take Guru than to take some baby. It is difficult. But it's not easy to do. It's a painful process. So that way it is, but otherwise it is. And essentially what we need to understand is, every human being is a combination. So it is impossible that you can find a person, because the Krishna says, but if a person is not very much inclined towards bhakti, means you are not devotional, then how can I choose Guru for Upasana? it is actually contradiction. The question is contradicting itself. So first you are saying, I am not inclined towards bhakti. Then you are saying, can I take guru? It's like a person saying, sir, I am not interested in studies. Can I do IAS? It's something like that. That is not possible. Technically not possible. But of the studies, of the preparations, definitely we say, yes, is a different, you need courage, man. You want to say that. Same way. Like that here. You say, this person is not very much inclined towards bhakti. Can they do upasana on their guru? Do upasana on guru is the best. But there are, associated things comes along with it. Associated in the sense there are difficulties in it. The primary difficulty is if he is alive, if you transact, he will correct it. And the corrections would be painful. It's too difficult for us to digest. If you cross that over, then after that it is a different relationship. Till that point, it's a torture. So it's not easy to do that. So the position of the 10th chapter is this. So the 10th chapter gives you an opportunity to practice that upasana by repeating. A lot of repetitions will come. So you can go on repeating because you have to get that, because you are forgetting. But what is the repetition you have to do here is not your Ishtadevata. You are graduating from Ishtadevata to the next level. Otherwise, you are in trouble. So here, what is it doing? Two things are done here simultaneously. One, you are reminded of that presence of divinity, divinizing the things. Along with that, you are expanding. Otherwise, from Aneka Rupa, you came to Eka Rupa. You are contracted. You see, you have chosen one out of so many. Now, if you stop here, contraction will continue. A point would come where you will become impossible to expand further. So you have to contract, and then what you have to do? Expand. The second expansion is where this 10th chapter comes into the picture. So there are two purposes, dual purpose. One, repetition, upasana. Two, expansion. So this is the idea of the chapter. Right. Continue the next class.